Good evening, viewers, and welcome to another Kuma Production Studio episode. How are you all doing today? That's good to hear. I want to give a special shout out to my cubbies. How are y'all? For those wondering how to become a cubby, all you have to do is like, subscribe, and turn on post notifications. Then and only then will you get your very own cubby to decorate as a small token of your constant support. Metaphorically, of course, we don't have the budget to do all that. I am your host, Kuma, and today we'll be going over my redesign of Kai from the Hollow. So, spoilers for Season 1, 2 in my previous video coming up. Even if you don't care about spoilers, go watch my first video on Adam because I said so, and I go into more detail about the Hollow and my feelings about the series. To give a brief rundown of the show, the Hollow is about our main trio, Adam, Mira, and Kai, facing off against another team, Bernard, Vanessa, and Reeve, in a virtual reality game that gives them superpowers to solve quests, getting them to the goal before the other team. Kai's character acts as the comic relief, and his abilities are fire and to know literally everything about technology. Also, from a writing perspective, his inclusion is appreciated. Since he is a new member of the group, we can smartly have information repeated to the audience about group dynamics and character traits the characters in the group would have already known, but the audience would not have. This also makes him the least messy when it comes to the history with the others starting off, but that does not mean he is without his character flaws, like literally falling in love with every girl he saw. Stand up! Anyways, quick disclaimers before we get started. This and other redesigns as well as rewrites I will do in this broadcast and in the future is not an attack on the creators or of the show. This series, along with others I do on this channel, are just how I would handle the characters as well as the show's themes and ideas, not an alternative, objectively better version. Also, my focus is more on the writing of the characters, not the digital art and designs of the characters, so I ask that you are kind in the comments about my art, please and thank you. Let's get started on my redesign and writing of Kai's backstory. Kai Maxwell was born to be the heir of one of the biggest financial companies in Canada. His parents, Abigail and Gerard, rarely spend time in the house. They choose participating in regatta races and other expensive hobbies instead of raising Kai. That privilege goes to his butler, Davis, and Kai's multiple tutors. Contrary to popular belief in the media, Kai's parents are madly in love with each other and get along very well. But it's too bad Kai couldn't get any of that love growing up due to him not hitting their expectations. His parents have tried, using air quotes, their best to raise him, but they have had no luck. His mother refuses to go through childbirth again and give Gerard another heir, but she thinks Kai will come around, eventually, while Gerard wants to look for someone else to be the family successor. Side note, they don't want to use a surrogate and have another person be connected to the childbirth. That could get messy and they didn't want to risk it. Kai, seeing how his presence always caused his parents arguments, first tried his hardest to do better. He never loved the company or the idea of taking over it. He was willing to put all his feelings aside to make his parents happy. Though his efforts and tutoring were thorough, Kai just couldn't be the person his father wanted him to be, or mother for that matter. In short bursts, sure, but managing someone's financial situation would make Kai have a meltdown. Not only that, but the social aspect of wealthy society always didn't make sense to Kai. He was either fighting to listen to whoever was speaking, or focus solely on acting correctly. But the final nail in the coffin for Kai losing his confidence completely was when he got overstimulated at the dinner of his mother's birthday party that she was hosting at their house, embarrassing his parents as he fled to his room. After this incident, Kai's parents stopped bringing him to events. Coincidentally, during this time, Kai was also diagnosed with ADHD and autism, which his parents used as an excuse to keep people from asking questions about him or having Kai interact with other children. So, Kai became a boy in the bubble, with a ton of hobbies, one of which is going online to fill the void of companionship in his life, which led him to his love of gaming, that would then fill the void of having friends or people to talk to other than his butlers in real life. In his later years of middle school, he fell in love with a game called The Hollow. Him always being on the top of the leaderboard shows how much he loves this game and how much time he spends on it. His favorite power from the game is fire. The flying that he can do makes him feel like he can go anywhere, unlike his real life, and the powerful destruction he can leave in his wake makes him feel like he can have an impact on something, which is why he only chooses this ability. With this new outlet, Kai excelled in his studies so much that he skipped 2 grades. And he became friends with his next door neighbor Kevin, who has severe combined immune deficiency, so they both bonded on their situational isolation. They always gamed together and always met through some form of screen. He He's way younger than Kai and was due for surgery that can allow him to be in school in person. So, with the concept of him truly having no friends other than his online friends again, he made his parents a deal. If he could act normal for a whole party his mother hosted, then he could go to a public school of his choosing. Abigail was against it, since she thought it was because of his new tutors that he was doing so well in his studies. She thought with more hard work, it would prove to her husband that Kai can run the company, just not be as social as he wanted. However, Kai and Gerard won out and the party was planned. With more experience, meds, and a game plan, Kai was able to impress both his parents and ace that party. Kai hated every second of it, but because of this, he was able to pick his own high school. On his first transfer day, Kai was more nervous than ever, especially with all the weird looks he was getting from all the other students. Luckily for him, a boy named Adam walked up to him and asked him to join his Hollow team and friend group, since he was wearing mostly Hollow merch that day. The rest of his time at the school was the best semester of his life, including developing a crush on the curly-haired boy. What surprised him is that his parents actually showed up to the tournament as a sponsor for his championship round. Kai doesn't know if it's intentional, but that was besides the point to him. Even though he would have no memory during his round, he was sure the feeling to win would translate to his avatar, and it did, but now he was stuck in his favorite game with no way out. Kai's design took so many redesigns, oh my god. I finally got something I liked and it barely looks any different from in the show. What you're seeing now is a speed paint from the scrap designs. I'm so sorry I don't have enough of the final one to stretch out for the whole video. Anyways, before we get into the design, I do have to briefly talk about why I made changes in Kai's backstory real quick. Not all of them, or we will literally be here all day, but the ones in my script. In season 2, Kai does let us know that his parents had him pick sides on their arguments, as Adam and Reeve told him to do during that scene. This really doesn't go anywhere, so I'm modifying this idea. What I will lean more into is when Adam and Reeves are fighting on the train and yelling. That is what triggers him and all the subsequent yelling. Not fetal position type of reaction, but it varies depending on the severity of the yelling. He will start shaking and crying and shutting down or refusing to pick sides if they're yelling and arguing without being reasonable and loud. I also thought his parents actually being in love with each other was an important note to make, because I am tired of seeing unhappy marriages, especially from non-heroic characters. Like, why are you married in the first place if you're not happy with your partner? Doesn't make sense to me. I mean, I get it, it's a shorthand for telling us the villain couple is evil, but Anyways, another aspect of Kai's parents I wanted to make clear is them both being equally emotionally neglectful. Ooh, tongue twister. Anyways, yes, Kai's mom wants to give Kai a chance in the company, but she never stops to ask what Kai wants or even spend time with him. Though Kai's dad is more vocal with Kai about his feelings, mostly negative, both have made him feel like a disappointment in different ways and have not raised him. They delegate it to their staff, and when they do talk to him, it's usually over dinner, never in a comfortable environment for Kai, and always want something out of him. Them showing up to the tournament was purely coincidental, and not them engaging in any of his hobbies, unlike the parents that are there to see their kids win. Okay, now we can briefly go over the outfit. I was going for more of a preppy style for Kai. This outfit in particular is what he's wearing to his championship game, so he wants to dress up a little bit more than he usually does. Nothing that screams I have money except the brand. Honestly, all I did was draw some jewelry, tucked in a dress shirt that I gave him, kept it unbuttoned so you can still see the hollow t-shirt thing that he has on, and called it a day. Also, his hair is a little bit longer now, and he has freckles. Okay, so for his characterization in season 1, he stays pretty much the same. One of the ideas I had to make his little rant sessions less annoying is to give them plot relevance by having them predict plot beats, give information about the bosses that they're going against, etc, etc. Of course not all of them, because I'm not trying to give Kai a third ability of prophecy, but Also, nitpicky, I didn't find any of the physical comedy that they did with Kai funny. Again, it's a personal preference, but I would have just written it differently, and as well as some of the jokes. If I can find the clips, I'll put them in. If not, then don't worry about it. But for the physical comedy to work for me, I feel like a character needs to deserve it, either by being to their own stupidity or the audience not liking the character, especially for a more serious tone show like The Hollow. Not all of the jokes fall flat, but just most of them with Kai. Usually when they do physical comedy with Adam, it's funny, but that's usually because he deserves it. And while we're on the topic of Kai and Adam having crushes on each other, this means scenes will play out differently than what they were in season 1, like when Kai was getting mad at Adam for liking Mira. In retrospect, we would know it isn't because Kai likes Mira, it's because Kai likes Adam and wants Adam to like him. So yes, Kai doesn't like Mira in my version. I just think it's too messy for him to like Adam, Mira, and Vanessa, so I'm just keeping it to him liking Adam and Vanessa. This is more of a personal preference than like a writing critique, because it would still work well if he had crushes on all 3 of them. Also, with the backstory I gave him being manipulated by Vanessa makes more sense, with his lack of social interactions and lack of memory because of the hollow, letting him think all of the requests that she's asking of him are normal, and that it's just a way to show that she likes him back. You know, not being able to see through her nice facade. Also, you can see it as him partially getting back at Adam by going after someone else. Besides, it's not like Kai has seen any good relationships from his perspective at home, so it's in character. While we're on Vanessa, let me go on a little side tangent. I'm not doing a video on her, so I want to talk about how her backstory parallels to Kai's backstory and character. Both share the disapproval of their parents, but instead of it being because of a company that they want her to manage, it's about her career path. She wants to pursue gaming as her main career, and her parents think it's a waste of time. Just like Kai, Vanessa makes her parents a deal. If she wins the Hollow tournament, they have to support her gaming career. With this backstory, it gives Kai more to relate to about Vanessa, so it makes sense why he defends her so hard in season 2. So it doesn't come off as, oh, I'm only defending her because I had a crush on her, which is, yeah. Okay, now for some small changes I'm making that have no effect on the overarching story. The Sirens who almost caused the boys to walk off the cliff in season 1 should be changed to guys. Yay, foreshadowing, yay! When Adam was unconscious during the end of season 1, Kai should be a blushing mess. You know, high school crush type of vibes. This will also clue in Mira and us, the audience, on Kai's crush on Adam, specifically the scene where Adam falls on top of Kai, yes. Also this specific look, Overall, adding more scenes, subtly setting up the ship without it feeling like it came out of nowhere is the goal. I think I changed Kai the least compared to Adam and Mira design-wise. It's just the reason that he acts the way they do are more fleshed out, which is kind of the whole point of the series. Okay, now that that's out of the way, here's the finished drawing. I tried to stay as close to the show's art style as possible, but hopefully you like how he looks regardless. Let me know your thoughts on Kai's character and the 2 seasons in the comments below. The next broadcast I plan on making is a combination of 2 characters this time, which are Mira and Bernard. I may post in between videos, but again, we'll see. I'm Kuma from Kuma Production Studios, and I am signing off. Bye everyone, and cut! Great show everyone!